Hello everyone. So in this video, what we are doing right here is um, IGCSE ICT 0417 slash 0983. Okay, 0983. Okay, so we're doing ICT. Okay, ICT, and this is a little bit different because what we are doing here is we're looking at topical questions. Okay, for right here, this is for chapter 3 and chapter 4. So chapter 3 talks about storage, devices, and media. And chapter 4 talks about network, and the effects of using them. So these are the two topics here in these topical questions that we'll be talking about right here. So let's look at this first one. Data can be stored on magnetic, optical, or solid state media. Tick the appropriate type of medium for each of the examples. Now, it is important for us to understand that when we talk about the magnetic, what we are simply saying is the fact that using the properties of magnetism is one of the oldest method for electronic storage of data. Okay, even today, magnetic media relies on the property that the iron oxide coating can be magnetized to represent a binary 1 value and demagnetized to represent a binary 0 value. So essentially it relies because each magnetized area is very small, it allows a huge amount of data to be stored. So this is very important. One big advantage when it comes to this magnetic, right, is that the magnetic state of the iron oxide is permanent unless it is written over again. And there are two common types of this for the magnetic. We have what? The HDD, right, which is the hard disk drive, which is this, and we have the magnetic what? Tape drive. That's another example for this. So we have the magnetic tape drive. Okay, so we have the magnetic tape drive. All right, let's look at optical, right? So essentially, when we talk about optical, we have various types of optical, right? Because CDs and DVDs and Blu-ray, right, are described as optical media, right? And that means that they can be read from or written to by the optical storage devices. So the Blu-ray disc is a good example of what? The optical. Okay. Then when we talk about the solid state, right, just to wrap up the whole process, one of the issues that brought about the solid state is the fact that we started experiencing what we call latency. Okay, latency became a major issue when it came to the HDD. Okay, so solid state technology removes this issue because all the data is retrieved at the same rate. Very important, is retrieved at the same rate. Okay, they don't longer rely on magnetic properties and they have no moving part. Okay, so this is very important. That's why for solid state we have the pen drive or your memory stick, which is this, and of course we have the memory card for this. Okay. Question 2. The program collects a large amount of data, and this could be stored using a fixed solid state drive or cloud storage. The developer is planning to use cloud storage. Describe 4 advantages to the school using cloud storage rather than SSD. Now, this is something you see in chapter 4, cloud storage. And essentially, when we are talking about the cloud storage, it's important for you to know that this is a method of data storage where data is stored on remote server. And there are thousands of servers across. And the whole idea is the reasons why your data are stored in these distributed servers is the fact that when they are carrying out any form of maintenance or repairs, your files are intact. Okay, yes, it does lead to what we call data redundancy, but the whole idea is to ensure that you can always retrieve your data whether there's a downtime or not. So what becomes the advantage to a school? Now you have to relate this question to a school using a cloud storage. Now a school decided, okay, I want to store all my information on remote servers instead of storing it in the solid state drive. What becomes the advantage? So let's look at it together. Okay, so the first one is the fact that the cloud storage the cloud has greater storage capacity. Now, instead of having to buy multiple SSDs to store your files, you can just as easily just upgrade, and you don't have to bother about am I going to get this? Am I not going to get it? You don't have to bother about it. Okay. The next one we look at is the fact that the data could be sent directly to or from the cloud. From any computer devices. Okay, so that's another beauty about using the cloud. So you can be sent directly from the cloud from any device. Unlike the SSD that is just on one computer, this person can send it to the cloud. A different computer can send it to the cloud. Different personnel can send it to this. Different personnel can send it to this. Different personnel can send it to what? To this, to that cloud. So it makes it easy. Instead of having to get a backup, okay, get this, you get this. They can be at anywhere, and they can actually send it to the cloud. Okay. Again, one of the things I want to talk about is that storage capacity can be increased without adding additional physical devices, which is a major key. And this is why it has a greater storage capacity. Not just that, but we can increase it without adding any physical device. All we have to do is go there and we increase, go there and we increase, and this would make a whole lot. This will make a whole lot easier. So, which is one of the key thing when it comes to as an advantage of choosing the cloud storage over the SSD. The next one is many people can share the data, which is very good. So this person can share this data to someone else, can share this to someone else, and that makes it easy for collaboration. That makes it easy for collaboration. And to add to this, I'll probably just make this to add others, or just one other. I would say that there is there is and automatic backup of data. Okay, so that simply means that once you're done, there can be that automatic backup to the drive. So that simply means that in the case of any form of disaster, your informations are safe. One key thing I want to talk about, I'll probably just make this others and add this here, is that the school would only pay for the storage use, which is very important. So instead of just buying extra and extra, they would just pay for only that storage that is used. So which is actually very good. Describe 3 disadvantages to the school of using cloud storage rather than the SSD. 3 disadvantages. One of the first one I want to talk about is that cloud storage has an ongoing cost. Okay, so every month you keep paying, every month you keep paying, every month is an ongoing cost in maintaining the cloud. And this is something you would not see when it comes to the SSD, because once you buy it, you just buy it. Literally, you just buy it. You're literally not going to be paying for the SSD. Okay, no, no, literally. But for the cloud, it has an ongoing cost. Another one I want to talk about is that the school must have a reliable internet connection to store data. the school must have an internet connection to access the data. Okay, it's 3 marks. Now it's important for you to know that the marks would tell you the point. So in the case of 4 marks, and you're talking about 4 advantages, you're giving 4 points, right? It's so important that you know this. Okay, so for others, I think I can just put, okay, for others, I have the school loses control. Okay, the school loses control over the storage of the data. Now, one of the issue is that there's always a security concern because you're uploading this to people's server that you're paying for rent. So that simply means that they have control, you don't. So that simply means that if anything goes wrong, you lose your files. So the school loses control. Unlike the SSD, it simply means that the SSD is with you and you are in control of whatever happens to your files. Okay. Another issue that comes with um, loses control is more security issues. So more security issues as multiple copies of the data are stored. Because again, we talked about the fact, we talk about cloud computing. This is where the data are stored across servers, remote servers. So again, we talked about it causes more data redundancy, and that is because copies of these your data are made across servers, and that can pose as a security concern. Let's look at this question. Many students prefer to store an external storage device like pen drive or portable hard disk drive. Describe 4 advantages of using a pen drive rather than a portable hard disk drive. It's important for us to know that when we talk about a pen drive, it is a solid state drive. Okay, it is a solid state drive, but here you see it as now. There's always this confusion between the pen drive and the flash drive. It has been incorrectly used to mean the same thing. Essentially, any device that uses solid state technology can be referred to as a flash drive. Please take note. A pen drive, which is seen as a memory stick, so this is also seen as what? A memory stick. Okay, is a flash drive with a USB connector. So in other words, it is a type of flash drive with a particular purpose. So it's more or less like a plug and play, right? You plug it in and it would work. Okay, so what's the advantage of using this than a portable hard disk drive? One of the fact that I want to talk about here is that is more robust, has no moving part, okay, it's more robust as it has no moving part. Okay, okay, it's more robust, okay, as it has, that's the right thing, no moving part. Okay, very important. Now, and this is one of the key issue because it simply means that even if it falls on the floor, it doesn't get damaged. Unlike your hard disk in any form, whether be it fixed or portable. Okay. Another one I want to talk about is that can be more easily carried. In terms of portability, this is more portable than the hard disk drive. Although you call it portable, but this is more lighter than that of the hard disk drive. All right, 4 marks, 4 points. So let's look at the next one. Uses less power because it has no moving parts. So it uses less power. Another one is that it have faster data access. Okay, and I'll probably just make this as order because I've talked about 4 points already. It also has faster data transfer time. Okay, so it has a faster data transfer time. For each of the following types of backing storage, give one example of its associate media. Okay, your answer must be different in each case. So what's the total mark? This is 3 marks. So let's look at it. So for optical, what are the examples here? We have the compact discs. You can also put it as CD. Okay, for your others, you could have DVD. Okay, it could be in any form. You can have your Blu-ray. Okay, so that's one way to look at it. For the magnetic, you have it as either as the fixed hard disk, for others fixed hard disk drive, for others we can have portable hard disks, we can also have the magnetic tapes. So whichever one you want to take down is fine. Okay, for your solid state, we have your pen drive or your memory stick, pen drives. For others, you can have memory cards, memory cards, comma, even the solid state drives. And yes, you can put it as SSD. Okay. Describe three differences between optical and magnetic backing storage. Three differences between optical and magnetic backing storage. So let's look at the first one. Now, optical data is stored using laser. And this is very important because this is something that students always ignore. Okay, so like I talked about, when it comes to the optical, they rely on optical properties of laser light. That laser light is now used to read data and to write data on the surface of the disk. Again, they rely on the optical properties of laser light, which is used to read data and to write data on the surface of the disk. So optical data is stored using laser, whereas magnetic data is stored using magnetic field. Okay. Differences. Magnetic storage is affected by magnetic field, whereas optical storage is not. Magnetic media tends to store more data than optical. And we know this to be true even with the dual layering. Right? With the dual layering, you could have for the Blu-ray to be maybe 47 gig, right? Which is, of course, you can't compare that with the mag. Which, of course, you can't actually compare. You can't compare to you can't compare that to the magnetic um, uh, media. So I've talked about 3 points already. For just to add to it, okay, just to add to it, we could probably talk about other. Okay, so we can see that optical storage is more robust. It uses laser light. It doesn't have any moving part. Okay. Um, we could have optical has a faster data a faster data access transfer speed. Hope that is clear. Okay, so we talked about the fact that optical storage is more robust. That simply means that um, even if you fall on the floor, it's not something that gets damaged like that of um, the magnetic. Okay, and yes, optical does have a faster access time and transfer rate. Portable hard disk drive can be solid state drive or hard disk drive. Explain why SSD may be better to use than HDD. Okay, let's start with the fact that with the introduction of SSD into laptops, we can now see that the SSD is more portable than that of the HDD. Okay, so it's more portable for formats. So look at 4 point. So here we can see that the SSD is more portable. Okay, another one is with the introduction of SSD, we can now see that laptops have now become smaller and thinner. So the SSD is smaller and thinner. And again, the SSD uses what? Less energy. Okay. And here, SSD is more robust as it has as it has no moving part. Okay, so if you want to add something for just one order, I will say the data transfer rate in the SSD is better. Okay. Hello, Tamida. Can you hear me? Mm. Hello, Tamida. Can you hear me? Okay. So Miss Lasisi is going to be with you shortly. Okay. All right. I don't know if you can hear me, but I won't believe you can hear me. Oh, now you can. Hello, Tamida. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So Mr. Lasisi is going to be with you shortly. Okay. Uh,
Okay, no problem.
I didn't know that the mic was not it was on a different a different microphone. So uh,
Um, uh,
okay, yeah. Uh, hello, sir. Hello, sir. I know. Yeah, she's there. She's there. Yes, yes, sir. No problem. No problem, sir. Yes, sir. Question 6. Magnetic tapes are used in organization for backing up data. Describe the advantages and disadvantages of using magnetic tapes rather than flash memory for backing up data. So we're talking about advantages and disadvantages of using a magnetic tape. And we've talked on it. And if I've not talked on it, I think this would be a good time for me to probably just talk about the magnetic tape. So essentially, the magnetic tape is a very thin um, strip of plastic which is coated in a magnetic layer. Okay, so what it does is they read from or written to by the read and write head in the magnetic tape. You see the magnetic tape going like this in a circular form. The data is stored as a magnetized area. That talks about one. Demagnetized talks about what? Zero. And of course, the data is read from the tape using serial access. Very important. Using serial access. In other words, data can only be read in the same order that it was written. So it's not being written in ascending or index, it is serial. So it's written the same, it is being read from the same order that it was written. So let's talk about advantages and disadvantages of using magnetic rather than flash memories of backing up. So this is a 6 mark question. So that simply means um, 3 for advantage, 3 for disadvantage, or 4 for advantage, of 2 for disadvantage, or 2 for advantage, and 4 for disadvantage. So let's talk about that. So I'm going to start with okay. So I'm going to start advantages here. So let's start with advantages. Okay. So we have less expensive per gigabyte. Okay, so if you buy a little bit, it's less expensive of memory. So that GB means what? Gigabyte of memory. Okay, the next one is not as easily lost. Okay, as is okay, as is what? Larger in size. Disadvantages: you have that data access time is slower because accessing those data takes a whole lot of time. And the same way with data transfer rate. So data transfer rate is slower. Another thing here is that it is affected by magnetic fields. They have moving parts. They have moving parts. Therefore, less robust. Okay, I think they've covered the 6 points. I'll probably just have for others because I have some more disadvantage to talk about. Okay, it is harder to transfer to other devices. Okay, and here it requires a special reader. Okay, modern computers often do not have an optical drive. Yes, so when we talk about the future of storage devices, the future of storage devices are the ones that don't have optical drives, really. So, what are the 4 ways music can be transferred onto a computer that does not contain an optical drive? So, I know you guys love music a lot. So, what are the ways we can transfer music? You can transfer music onto a computer. I want you to pause this video, try to see if you can put out some points on your own, write it in a notepad somewhere, and then play this video and then see and just check through with your answers. Okay, so the first one I have here is that streaming. One way we can stream music from the internet. We can also downloading music from the cloud. It could also be a direct input using a microphone, and we can also plug in an optical device, okay, or it could be um, an HDD or even an SSD. Okay, I'll probably have one other here. So I have one other here. Sent by email attachment. Okay, I think I've stretched this enough. Movies can be stored on Blu-ray discs or an internal hard disk. Describe why Blu-ray discs are always preferred to an internal hard disk for storing movies. Now, one of the things about the Blu-ray, and something I need to point out um, for you watching this video, is that um, apart from the fact that it's another example of the optical storage media, they are different to even let's talk about the ones for DVD, really. Okay, but one of the things that makes it to stand out is that the fact that it is double of the DVD, and it can be used or seen as what, a backup, right? And also it can also be used for home video consoles, storing and playing back movies. Okay, that simply means in high definitions of up to 25 gigabytes of memories. Okay, so looking at it as the internal hard disk and the Blu-ray, and I have it as a backup, is the fact that the Blu-ray discs are portable. Okay, I'm just gonna put this here. Blu-ray discs are portable. Okay, data cannot be erased or edited. Okay, describe why Blu-ray discs are preferred. Okay, the reason why it is preferred is that it doesn't take up internal storage. Very important. Does not take up internal storage. Okay, for you to have more storage, you can have large number of Blu-ray discs. Therefore, more storage. Okay, let's look at this. 7 descriptions are shown on the left and 10 computer terms are shown on the right. By drawing arrows, connect each description to the correct computer term. So let's look at this. To the correct computer term. So Form of authentication in the form of hardware devices that uses periodically changing random numbers to log into a secure system. Form in the form of authentication, that's other authentication method, and is in the form of hardware. You see that as what? Physical token. So I have this here. Good. Type of network that covers a huge geographical area, such as a country or different continent. That is the wide area network. So I have this here. Devices used to connect two LANs together that use the same protocol but cannot communicate outside the two LANs. So it uses the same protocol. So that would be bridge. Authentication software installed on a user's smartphone that generates a one-time passcode. Now look at it. Software installed on a user computer, that's electronic token. Hope we're having a good time. Types of login authentication that relies on biometrics and behavioral pattern. Okay, so this will be zero login. So somewhere here. Device that connects computer together to form a LAN and direct data packet to a specific keyword here, specific device. So that's your switch. Hardware needed to connect a device to a network. A MAC address is hardwired or hard coded into the device and manufacturer. Now this is device that comes with your laptop. You see that as the network interface card. So cases of internet was not found. Password was not found. What else again? Hops was not found. So it's very important to know this. Question 10. 6 features of network devices are given in the table below. For each feature, tick the appropriate box to indicate whether it refers to a router, hub, or switch. Now let's do a solid here real quick. When it comes to these 3 of them, I just want to explain it from the hub or the switch. Now when it comes to the hub, okay, basically what the hub and switch do generally is that they have numbers of devices connected to them. So their primary function is to connect devices together to form a local area network, what you have as a LAN, but they have specific functions. So that simply means that once a data packet is sent to one of the hub port, what it does is it will broadcast it to every device connected to it. Okay, this is why the hubs are not very secure, because everybody can just receive every data packet that should be sent to only one destination. Okay, and this results to unnecessary traffic on the network, which result in reduced bandwidth. For the switch is an intelligent version of the hub. Okay, and we've talked about what is common between them. They connect to form a local area network. But one thing that is particular about the switch is that it stores the MAC addresses of all devices on the network. So it stores the MAC addresses of all devices on the network. Okay, so that means that each port on the switch is connected to the device would have a matching MAC address. So it uses what we call the lookup table. Essentially, it uses what we call the lookup table. So this is very important. When it comes to the router, what the router does is it routes data packet from one network, okay, from one network to another, okay, and it is based on an IP address. Okay, so it simply means that each router has its own IP address, and routers can be joined, are used to join a LAN which is done by the hub and switch, to the internet. Make sense? So you have your computers connected to the hub or switch, and then connected to the server, and from your hub or switch connected to the router, and from the router to the internet. Okay, so let's look at this. So hubs used to connect devices to form a local area network. Two things does this. So this is the switch and this is the hub. The destination MAC address is looked up before the data packet is sent to the correct device. Okay, so this is done by the switch. Used to connect LANs to other external network. That is done by the router, please. Okay. Uses both MAC and IP address to enable data packet to be sent to the correct device on another network. Now, take note, modern broadbands, and this is a good time to talk about this, right? What the modern broadband does is it actually combines the function of a router and a switch. So this means that they can store the MAC addresses and IP addresses to enable data packets to be sent to the correct what network, and then to the correct device on the network. So it's not just enable data packet to be sent to the correct device, also sent to the correct network. And this right here is seen as what? Your router. All data packets are sent to all devices on the network. That is your hub. Data packets are only sent to a specific device on the network, and that is your switch. Okay. A company is setting up a video conference. Name 3 computer hardware devices that they would need. Now, essentially, when we talk about the video conferencing, right, it is a communication that uses both video and sound. So it has now become a substitute for face-to-face conferencing between a number of what people who may be in different parts of the country. All right. So the basic hardware devices that it makes use of is the first one. There are 3, so I'll just probably just talk about large monitors. You have your large monitors, okay, or your television screen, so whichever one you want to use. You have your microphone, okay. You have your speakers, okay. I'll probably use this for others. So here you could have your webcam, okay, okay. You could also have remote control. No, I think remote control is fine, but probably not put this because these are just basically just for basic we need, right? Keyboard can also be there if you want to talk about keyboard. You could have keyboard for typing. It is a need for, but this is just basic, really. This is just basic, really. All right. The company could have set up a web conferencing rather than a video conferencing. Explain what is meant by the web conference, and I'll probably just explain it right now. So when we talk about the web conferencing, it's also seen as a webinar. The web conferencing is also seen as what? A webinar or a webcast. So it uses the internet to permit conferencing to take place. Okay, so all you need is computer and a stable internet connection, because mobile computers are used with this system and they're all connected over the internet. Okay, so it's just like the same thing with video conferencing because they are carried out in real time, and there's a lot of things that happens to the web conferencing because it allows business meetings, it allows presentation, the business meetings to discuss new ideas, presentations, online education. So essentially you could use um, do slide presentations. You could be able to carry on, you can chat verbally there, documents can be shared. So the whole idea about it, okay, so this is very important. So one thing we can talk about here is that, let's talk about it here. It is uses the internet to permit conferencing to take place. Another one is that examples are webinars or your webcast. It also allows text communication, that is chatting verbally. It allows voice communication. For others, I think I can add just other here. It allows video communication. So I'll put others here. It uses a web browser. Okay, so this is essentially what it does. Okay, you can also use the whiteboard to write, right, using your own keyboard or mouse. All right. CD, DVD, and Blu-ray are types of optical storage media. Take the most appropriate optical storage media for each of them. So we've talked about the CD, compact discs, DVD, and Blu-ray. This is used for storing audios, videos, and this is high quality, right? So stores lower quality audio files. You have it as your CD. Has the highest storage capacity. That is your Blu-ray. The RAM version of this medium is used to record and play recorded image at the same time. That's your DVD. Stores high definition movies. That's your Blu-ray. Okay. Okay. So I think we're done with this whole topical question. I think um, it's been informative. I hope you learned a lot in this. Please do well to share this with your friends so that they can also be part of this amazing topical question on chapter 3 and chapter 4. Thank you very much. Bye for now.